Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, boys and girls. Let's go with today's lab. The name of the lab is actually Vlan Cdp Lldp Lab 18. So let's go ahead and read the instructions of this one. These are the tasks. R1 and R2 are pre-configured with the necessary commands. All physical cabling is in place and verified. Connectivity for PC1 and PC2 must be established to the switches. Each port must only allow one VLAN and be operational. Configure switch 1 with VLAN 15 and label it exactly as ops. Configure switch 2 with VLAN 66 and label it exactly as engineering. Configure the switch port connecting to PC1. Configure the switch port connecting to PC2. Configure the E02 connection on SW1 and SW2 for neighbor discovery using a vendor-neutral standard protocol, and ensure that Ethernet 00 on both switches uses a Cisco proprietary protocol. Let's take a look at the diagram. There you have it. These are the VLANs. This is the configuration that we will be entering in the switches. Let's go ahead and look at the option that we have for Packet Tracer. You can download the file and do it yourself. So the first thing we do is we're going to configure some stuff in switch 1. Let's go ahead and open up. I'm going to stop the video for a moment, sharing my camera. And let's go ahead and start with the switch 1 first. We access the CLI and we can start doing some commands there on the first switch. So we are validating, we can even run this command show version just to double check. Oh, this is the device. We can do actually a show run. Show run. After that, we have to do a show run after enable. This is the host name, SW1. That is a double checking because we already see it here, the SW1. So enable and configure terminal, config T. That will be the first command that we need to run here. So it says that we need to use, in this case, it stated that we need to use the LLDP at some point. Let me check the instructions. We need to use a Cisco proprietary. We need to use the ISL protocol, which is Cisco proprietary protocol for the switches, the encapsulation. Doesn't really state it about the LLDP configuration. Let me check on that. Configure the switch with the VLAN, configure the VLAN 66 and 15. Okay, configure the port of PC1 and PC2. It doesn't really say that much, but let's just start doing the configs there. So first thing we do is LLDP run. We are going to do a VLAN 15 and then name ops. Let's go ahead and ask our little friend ChatGPT or artificial intelligence about the LLDP command. Why do we need this command in a Cisco switch? Let's go ahead and clear that doubt. LLDP, why is needed in a Cisco switch? So we need to find out and understand fully why the LLDP command is required. Okay, so the instructions that says the vendor neutral command, the LLDP will be a vendor neutral protocol. So that's the reason, because we are using LLDP. Okay. Next, after creating the first VLAN, which is ops, you can see it there. The VLAN 15 is ops. We have to go ahead and provide access to the fast Ethernet 01. This is in switch 1 for the PC1. So let's go ahead and run the following command. Switch port. Interface. Fast Ethernet 01. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 15. Now in the same, we are doing exit here, interface fuzzy ethernet 02. That is the one that goes from the switch 1 to the switch to the router, if I'm not mistaken. Fuzzy ethernet 02, it goes from switch 1 to the router. So we are running the following command here. Let me double check in the packet tracer. Yeah, fuzzy ethernet 02 goes from the switch 1 to the router. So let's go ahead and run the following command. No CDP enable. We are doing LLDP transmit, LLDP receive. And the reason for this is because at some point they actually stated in the vendor neutral, the standard protocol in the instructions. So that's the reason, because we're running these LLDP commands. What else do we need to do? Interface FA010. That's the one that goes from both switches. So they are using fuzzy ethernet 010 between both switches to communicate. Switch 1 and switch 2. Now we have to do switch port, trunk encapsulation ISL. For some reason it's not supported. Let me see if packet tracer doesn't really support it. No, it doesn't support it here. So let's do that one queue, but let's imagine that we are running the ISL encapsulation at this moment in order to provide the main reason because ISL is not supported is because remember that packet tracer sometimes doesn't support some commands, and that is part of the limitations that packet tracer has. But if we work along with a program like GNS3, we can actually create this topology. Maybe we can do it later. I probably work on that later if I have the time. So I can recreate this topology in GNS3 if possible and do the same lab. So we can actually see the ISL command in place. So switch port mode trunk. And now we're doing end and then WR. Now let's go ahead and access the other device. Let's go ahead and now access the switch 2 so we can add some commands there. We are accessing the CLI and we are doing the enable first and then the config T. LLDP run, Vlan 66. Okay, no VLAN. Let me just do no VLAN and add it again just to cover a box there. Name engineering. Then interface FA01. Switch for mode access. Switch for access. VLAN 66. Okay, interface FA02. No CDP enable. LLDP transmit and LLDP receive. We are doing interface FA010 and this one switch port trunk encapsulation. That one queue because we know this one ISL is not supported in packet tracer. Switch port mode trunk and then end and write. And we should be all done with this lab. Now we are configuring that one queue because it's not supported in the simulation environment, but we know for sure that if we get this same scenario in a simulation, in an exam, or in a GNS3 topology, we will have to use the ISL. And even if we are working with real life equipment, we will have to do the ISL encapsulation. So please be aware about that. I think that's pretty much everything that we need to do for this lab. Configuring the VLANs. Did we provide the access to Fast Ethernet 1? Let's double check that. Let's do a show VLAN brief. We should be able to see if we have the access to that specific VLAN. Yeah, it's right there. Facilitator 01 is accessing Vlan 66, which is actually the other one, Vlan, the engineering Vlan. We should be all good on this one. The only negative back here is that the simulation for Packet Tracer doesn't support the ASL command, but that is something that we can actually fix if we use an emulator like EvenG or GNS3. You can go to YouTube and do some research and investigate. There are some free available options there, so you can run the extra mile and do that. For the time being, I think that's pretty much everything we have to do for this lab. We are done for the time being. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for everything. Let's look at that explanation one more time. LLDP run command is used to enable link layer discovery protocol on a Cisco switch. It's vendor neutral protocol that allows network devices to advertise information about themselves to other on the network. With vendor neutral, it means that we can connect Juniper routers and Cisco routers with no trouble. And that's the reason because we are using vendor neutral, for example. That could be a reason. Now, since this one is talking about only Cisco proprietary, in this specific scenario, we are talking about Cisco routers only because it's using Cisco proprietary protocol. So please be informed about that. Those are all the different examples that I can come up with at this moment. So boys and girls, it's been a pleasure. Let me just say goodbye, give you a farewell for the time being. Take care, boys, girls. I see you around. Until next class.